When you hear there's a snowstorm, do you scoff at all the people that are going to get bread and milk? What are they making? French toast. When you hear there's another kind of epidemic, scary thing coming, do you need to run to the stores and really stock up on water? Do you really need all this stuff? Or do you sometimes think people are overreacting? Wow, they overreacted a lot. Everything's gone. Now you have this crazy feeling that panic is seeping through the people. There's population and society actually can feel and experience fear collectively. And now, maybe you're too late. We're talking about mass hysteria, folks. Buckle up.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. With taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles.
Ride that wave.
I'm Dan.
I'm Nick. Phil.
We are the
pander. I got
Unpanders.
Thoughts, folks?
Yeah. We're talking about mass hysteria.
Panic buying.
Fear.
People going cray-cray in the streets. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. And there's a weird thing that happens during snowstorms and hurricanes that people see it coming and they have a very short window to react in. Which makes it
2 days. Day and a half.
Yeah. I think that makes it kind of understood that when it happens over that time period that you're like, okay, they're out of bread and milk. It's a normal thing. For some reason, I don't know why, that's the most important short duration thing. But since we have a coronavirus that's probably going to take months to really get through, it's a different kind of hysteria. And
I don't think people even know that yet.
People don't realize it?
Yeah, I think it's an unrealized fear. It's like, hey, you're about to hit a brick wall. Hey, you're about to hit a brick wall doing 30. Hey, you're about to hit a brick wall doing 30. And people are like, whoa, let's get ready. I don't think you can really be ready for it.
That's all these people that, like, they work at a company that's making them come in, and there's a realization there that you are spreading something, possibly, that might not harm you, but that pass through you might infect X number of people, which then will probably cause someone to die. It's very real. But you don't see that because it's a secondary thing, and no one even thinks about, hardly ever do people think about what is happening repercussion-wise of all the actions that you're taking, or the actions that you're forced to take because of other people deciding what your fate is.
It's just weird that you also can't see it. So even if you made the decision already, you touched the doorknob, or you shook the person's hand, or someone sneezed on you, you will never definitively know if that was even the moment. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
You can't even backtrace it. You can't be like, I did get someone sick. I did have it. It was from work. You'll never know when at work you got it. It's invisible. You can't even see the symptoms of it until days, if not week singular, I said. I know we discussed 14 days. I'm still in debate about this.
Yes.
It's weird.
They say 5 days now. You start to show symptoms, but you may not. Some people don't show symptoms.
Yeah, they're asymptomatic.
Yeah. Carriers. So that brings us to what we're facing now, is that going into a grocery store, or any store for that matter, anything that someone might perceive as needed, they grab one, and they look, and they go, well, I probably need another one. And then someone else sees them go, oh, well, he's grabbing that.
They're getting low. On
why?
Item X.
Why are all these... So, like, what items are you noticing are gone, and what items are still there?
It's funny you ask. I was just mentioning before we began the podcast, I went grocery shopping and some aisles were perfectly intact. Not a thing different, not a thing missing. You could go one aisle over, the toilet paper and paper towel aisle.
Nothing.
Not one item on the shelf, the length of the store. Not
No
one
paper.
item.
It's weird because people are like, I need toilet paper. And then they're like, well, I'll just use paper towels. And then it's like, I'll use any paper product. And it's like...
Napkins. Napkins!
Yeah. Tissues? They're gone. No, none of them. None of them.
You're right. It was insane. And then you'd go one aisle over, and that happens to be where... 2 aisles, because that's the pet aisle, which almost nothing was missing.
Yep.
Then they had the an aisle that has like peanut butter and other things, and a lot of peanut butter is missing. Like not all of it, just about every single article of bread was missing. And I'm like, there we are. So then I looked, all the frozen vegetables that you can microwave for dinner, all gone.
All gone.
I was like, damn, you geniuses. You can keep them in your freezer and just pop them in the microwave for dinner, and you got veggies.
So
like,
what do you think people's mentality is when they're picking these things out? Like, there's obvious things that people just do, bread and milk,
dinner
because
do you do dinner and lunch for a week?
Yeah, I think they're thinking about a healthy dinner and lunch for kids throughout the duration of whatever this might be. And
I think there's always a big run on lunch meat. I did not buy lunch meat. I never do. But I think there's always people waiting at the deli area. And the little thing where they have the pre-packed stuff was all missing.
It's weird because the deli was like, I glanced over and it was filled with like the big like ham hocks and all that stuff. Like it would look filled, but they might be for show, honestly. And like the actual like things that they're slicing might be completely out. Like the deli was not open.
I think they still had the major stuff, but anything they had pre-sliced or whatever, gone. And I don't know if they were trying to keep up with the demand. I think people think that stuff is good for like a week or two, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Salami, is that good for like 2 weeks and you can just throw it on some bread that you bought?
Yeah. There's definitely a level of ease involved in these sort of things that like I don't think people want to go the full length of like making a full meal.
No, you're not like roasting a turkey and garnishing this and throwing all this stuff together. It's easier stuff. There's a run on hot dogs. There's a run on, hot dogs, all gone.
Makeshift, yeah. It becomes very
I have a kid.
disconcerting. Have you gone to any like the Costco's or BJ's wholesale?
No, not in about a week or two.
I went and there were certain things that were missing, just like that. And I felt uneasy there for some reason that I didn't pick up on until I was about to leave. When I started to look up, there's like 4 tiers of like warehouse stuff, and nothing was above the first tier. They had sold out of everything that was above me that I just didn't pay attention to until I was walking out. It was completely empty. And at that point, I felt like, am I planning properly?
Right, like you feel like, well, the biggest chain store in my area that buys in bulk in millions is running out. Maybe I should think twice about it.
Yeah.
When we talk about, because I think we're going to come back to this, stoicism, like I usually don't panic buy for a snowstorm or something. Like they're like, we're getting 5 to 9 inches, and people are like, whoa, we better go out there and have stuff. We better be ready for it. Darn tootin'. If they accidentally get 12 inches, we'll be stuck inside for 2 to 3 days. Mm-hmm. You could live on stuff in your house on 3 days, right? I have no idea.
I personally like when it's like, oh, let's get creative. I have random crap in my pantry. Let's pull this stuff out.
You haven't touched in a while. Yeah, let's
slightly expired. Okay. It still tastes good. Let's try this. Let's make a meal out of it.
My kid might starve to death. He's really picky, so that's a damn shame.
Grilled cheese goldfish sandwich. Yeah, let's try
he does like grilled cheese. Yeah.
I worry about my children though.
Well, that's what's going to come into this. So, as a guy and as someone who is the anti-panicker, I'm not a panicker. I'm very calm in all situations. If there was a fire, I'd probably tell people how to get out of the building. If there's a robbery, I'd probably be like, yo, pal, let's talk about this.
Calm down.
Over a nice game of Jumanji. Play your card. You're a monkey! Got him! Anyway. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. But I'm usually the calmest one. I'm usually not freaking out about anything.
Yeah.
Like, nothing in life gets me down. I will purposely, it, it isn't, because if I was by myself, I also think I would be poo-pooing it a little bit.
Huh.
By now, I think I would start to feel a little weird, and we can get into that later too about the feeling in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But now I have a kid. Like, he's 5. Like, he's not taking care of himself. Like, just because I'm being calm doesn't mean, like, there's this line between don't overreact, don't go crazy, don't go buy everything, panic buy, and you don't need 1,500 rolls of toilet paper. I have 48 rolls in the other room. Bought a half. I bought a half case. I mean, I sell toilet paper, which I can get into, but there's a fine line between don't overreact, don't panic, don't do this, and then the other side, like, if everyone does and all the stuff's gone, even if you're not a panicker, now you don't have the supply.
Yeah.
You're in charge of your kid's life. You're like maintaining a certain thing. So even if you're not panicking and you don't think it's an immediate threat, you still need those supplies.
Yeah, I don't want to wipe my kid's butt without toilet paper.
No, he needs hot dogs, for Christ's sake. He needs ketchup. Like, the panic buyers are making the regular people have to buy.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, they're
making
forcing
you
everyone
panic
else
buy.
to panic as well. Because that's
Exactly.
the only way you feel like you're equal to other people.
Or going to have it. I mean, can you imagine if
Gonna
the
need it,
shelf
yeah.
is bare for 4 days and I don't know what happens? So I say, sorry, I didn't panic like everyone.
So I just went to the grocery store today, and I went to get bananas, and bananas were not there. Like, weird things like potatoes weren't there.
Bananas were gone.
Yeah.
Bananas were gone. when I went.
Entire areas of vegetables were gone, and like that is not a normal thing for like hurricane stuff. So we go through hurricanes a lot because I'm in the south, and like vegetables never run out. And then I go over to the, like, almost no meats. There's like all these sausages that were gone, hot dogs. Frozen foods started to disappear. It's like stuff that had like probably been in that freezer for a year. It's like someone was like, I need this, and they like gone. I don't know like when this will be restocked. And then I think it hit me also is that if you're in a hurricane, the problem is like right where you are. Like in a small area, those people might
Town X and surrounding towns. Sure.
Yeah. Those people can get support from the rest of the nation, the rest of the world. In this situation, the whole world is freaking out.
It is
so you
different.
can't drive to another city and just pick up toilet paper. You have to wait for that thing to be produced and shipped to you, and then you have to hope that you're the first person to be like, oh, I see toilet paper, let me go grab it.
Here's an interesting thing. I sell toilet paper on the side. On the side.
Out of my van. Down by the river.
Down out of my van. My father's company, we've been selling toilet paper. We go right to a manufacturer. Actually, I think it's a master distributor. They don't manufacture it. But they have 25 aisles that are each like longer than a Costco length run down. They're like 4 tiers high, just like Costco. And they're stocked with either toilet paper, paper towels, tissues, a lot of paper supplies. Then they have a couple odds and ends, but it's mostly paper. He's been selling out of hand sanitizer, hand soap, toilet paper, and paper towels like you wouldn't believe. Sure, cash in, dude. Go for it.
Yeah.
He had me come into work and call out a sick from my other job. It's called double dipping, folks. I think I mentioned this before. Don't do it. I went to their warehouse. They would no longer deliver to my father, who they've been dealing with for a dozen years because they're too busy. There were guys on forklifts who were terrible and running around, and I couldn't figure out why they seemed so odd and why it seemed like they weren't doing a good job. It's because they stayed open Saturday and Sunday, and now the guys on the forklifts were sales reps that were phone guys that no longer worked in the warehouse. They just had them pulled, and they were in there, and anyone else who could answer a phone was in there answering a phone. They were running through toilet paper at a rate I've never seen before.
Like you actually saw the warehouse. Like you're seeing people.
Oh, I was in the warehouse. People were going like kind of freaking out, but it's a very calm freak out. The same thing you probably saw at the supermarket, where people aren't like their hair on fire. They're all walking calmly, but everyone's not smiling or making small talk. They're just like going about their business. It's almost like a weird.
Yeah.
The
murmur is like what's happening and what's closing and what's like who said something. That's.
But I got that feel from that place. I got that feel from the supermarket. My dad's sold out of toilet paper. Every piece of toilet paper he bought, paper product, is gone. He can't get any more. We recently contacted this company, just 2 days, bought all that from him, filled 2 vans filled. Can't get any more. They won't even let him pick it up. They're like, we're too backlogged. I owe too many people who are prepaying. So he doesn't know what to do. The state is saying he may have to stay home from work because he's non-essential. On one hand, it is essential, but on the other, it's not.
Yeah.
He's exposing himself to stuff too. I don't want to even get into that. But there's this weird feeling everyone has, and it strikes me as 28 days later. Like if I stand outside right now and it's quiet, I will feel weird. There's something in the air. I can actually sense the populace almost panicking, almost freaking out, almost being weird. Like, do you get that, or am I imagining it, or
No,
is it a
100%.
thing?
They're moving a little bit faster, and they're looking around a little more shiftily. Wondering, like, what can I do? And I don't know that the people that were late to the party can do very much of anything. Like, what if you were the last person to go to the grocery store? They didn't have anything at any grocery store. Where do you go for food? What do you go for toilet paper? Do you hope that the community like does that, or you just figure out like, I'm gonna buy a bidet? Those are sold out. Oh, sorry. What do you like? Honestly, those are sold out on Amazon. If you look,
that's crazy.
It's nuts. Like, you have to like live. You have to step down from whatever life you were living and be like, I'm a human being and I just have to like take care of my needs however possible.
How do you think it happens? Do you think you contact you go through your neighbors, your best friends, and then your family? And family first, probably, because they're the ones who might be like, yeah, you can friggin' move in with me, Jimmy. I got enough toilet paper for your sorry fat ass.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's part of the problem with what's happening now, is that every single person that's in the service industry is probably losing their job. Like, all the restaurants are closed, movie theaters,
bars, restaurants, movie theaters. It's crazy.
Anybody that was doing anything for like entertainment purposes or like any large gatherings, yeah.
Weddings,
sports, concerts, movies.
Holy shit.
All of that.
So what are they going to do?
You got to rely on the support network of the government or your family or your friends. Dude.
They ain't going to be able to pay your bills.
No. You have to roll back your life into something that's inconvenient. And everyone's starting to think about it now, I think. I don't know that anyone had that feeling.
A week ago?
Yeah, I went to a restaurant like 2 days ago to pick up food, and they did that awkward like every other booth thing, and it had people in it. But the servers and the matrons and all those people, they didn't care, because I think they saw it coming. And they had this little tiny room for takeout that like 10 people were stuffed in, and I was like, hey, like, you need to like get those people to like just stand outside and then call them in one at a time. Manager didn't give a shit.
When you're on a sinking ship,
yeah, what do you do?
When I worked at my last job, it's weird. I didn't give a shit about the customers. Like, I was selling like a high quality like luxury product, and people were going to be like, I'm going to spend $3,500 to have this done to my kitchen. And like all of us workers who were underpaid and realized like, this is like shifty stuff. Like, they're not paying their bills. This company's going to go under soon. Like, we would just talk shit and be like, yeah, see you in a minute. And like, they'd be like, how rude. But like, I imagine that's how all these bartenders and stuff feel. You can be as rude as you want. I'm worried about 3 weeks from now what I'm going to do.
Yeah. So
that you're going in and being like, how could they let someone do that? This is your livelihood. No, and they're thinking about it 24/7. We're just thinking about it right now. Yeah. These guys and gals it's weird. It's like, you're still going to work because you're not going to stop going, but you know that any shift could be your last. And all the people who are on the ship with you are kind of your best friends. Like, your coworkers. Like, you kind of hate them, but like, you hate them for cool reasons. Like, it's like, yo, this guy don't shut the fuck up. Like, she's always skimping on giving the bus person tips. She gives them $4. It should be $6, and everyone talks trash. And they're all your friends and everything, but now that ship is totally sinking.
Yeah.
Everything's going down, and they're the first to go.
It's almost like playing on a sports team, and then overnight, everyone on the sports team is changed because you're not going to get that crew back together. You're never going to be able to rehire those people if you shut down for a week or a month.
No, most of those people, 2 weeks, that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to hold off the mortgage for 2 months or 2 weeks or whatever.
You got to change your life.
Yeah. What about the people that own those places? Do they just sell them off? Like, do they become abandoned buildings? I don't even know.
Relics of a time gone by.
Weird, dude.
Yeah. Did that last?
Remember restaurants?
Yeah.
No, they actually didn't go under. They actually have a lot of commercials out, but they're shady, dude. They're going to get theirs anytime.
I sense it. Yeah, it makes me wonder about my own job. Like, my own job is fairly secure because I know a lot, and it's technical, and I can work from home, and I make progress.
Mm-hmm.
And other people don't have that luxury. They don't have the luxury of having knowledge or working remote. They're just there to do a service. They're there for their physical ability.
So my job is selling wire and cable.
Yeah.
People use wire and cable at their jobs. Experiments, stuff like that. Anytime a workplace. Usually not homes and residential stuff, but guess what people are going to stop doing when they stop going to work?
Buying.
Using wire and cable.
Yeah.
If people aren't going to work, like, I mean, I'm just looking at the writing on the wall. It's going to hit a wall.
Yeah.
It may not affect all of them. I'm one of the lowest men on the totem pole. I know that if they have to chop someone, it's going to be me. And
what would you do if you got axed? Would you
feel a sigh of relief, but also be terrified because I don't know what to apply for it in an economy like this.
Yeah.
So what the hell is there?
Manual labor jobs are like exploding for food industry.
Grocery stores going nuts.
Warehouse workers.
Is that what it is?
That sounds terrible.
It's not that bad. I've worked in a lot of warehouses, and my favorite guys at the job I'm at now, warehouse guys. Friggin' love them. You can tell like the same jokes. I can't get into it, but anyway.
Yeah.
But no, like, what other jobs are there? Hell, what's the deal with teacher anymore? They just said that the schools are going to be closed for the remainder of the year probably now. And I'm like, that's great. Childcare? No big deal.
Yeah, daycare.
Or like,
what are you going to do?
You know how we read about the Great Depression or we read about like a horrific event in the 1500s? Like, is this it?
I think it is it. I kind of saw it coming, and then when the markets dropped a bit, I was kind of like, okay, I think this is real. It's some people base their whole perspective on the economy, which is AKA the stock market, which is not true, Trump, sorry. But when you saw that dip, that was other people realizing all at the same time that, like, oh crap, that's a big oh crap. And it's not quite yet a depression, but I don't see how we're anywhere near close to through with this.
Going to get any better.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse.
And all these people that don't have jobs, like, you can't just, like, give them cash. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you're going to have to, but that's not going to get them through. You're going to have, they said, like, 25% unemployment.
Yeah, I saw 20 somewhere, and I was like, that's ridiculous. 25? Wow.
That's a quarter of everybody. That is.
Isn't this the problem that was wrong with communism or whatever?
It was what that
20% were unemployed and like waiting in line for food. Not that whatever.
This
is not getting political in this episode. I'm just saying.
But no, you're right. Like, you end up with a country that is bailing out all of its corporations, and if the government is literally buying these corporations, then it becomes communism or socialism. It's just
kind
a
of
ruse.
Does.
Yeah.
What about? I just heard this. The airplane industry. That no one's flying anywhere. They're shutting down airports. They're going to start shutting down airports, like shutting them down. I heard a rumor. Who pays for them? They're losing like millions every week, right? I have no idea how much they're losing. I'm making this up, but
the workers pay for it because they're going to not work. That's the crazy part.
So let's real quick flip over to generalized panic and hysteria and stuff.
Sure.
I generally think I'm above it. I generally think I'm better than most people. I mentioned it earlier in the episode. Like, I don't. No, but I mentioned it earlier. But when everyone's panicking or a stampede, have you ever been in a human stampede?
No. I feel like Game of Thrones, that Battle of the Bastards. Well, that's like the
that's
perfect
really well
example.
done. That's well done. It's perfectly well done. I was in the Wachovia Center on the day, the little venue they opened up. It's like a bar, restaurant down by the Wachovia Center. They opened it up about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I went there for opening night, and there was a Flyers game and like a Phillies game and a preseason game and this. And everyone and their mother packed in. I'm pretty sure they were over fire code, and it was so crowded that I was actually being pushed by people in a direction I didn't want to, and I couldn't push back. There were dozens of people pushing me.
Yeah.
It was too many, and it actually made me almost feel panicky. I was like, what the hell? Like, I can't stop moving forward. And it was just a really weird feeling. I don't like being in a crowd like that. And if something had happened or someone fell or someone heard gunfire and they all move in one direction, you don't have enough strength to do anything but run with the crowd.
Have you heard of the that nightclub fire that the doors didn't open outwards, so people were pressed against?
The Deep Purple song? Smoke on the Water?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's what it's about.
People were pressed against the doors, and they couldn't tell people, like, back off, I need to open the door.
Back off.
So you couldn't get out. And the ones that were
they
open...
opened this way?
Yeah. The ones that did open, people tripped in the doorway, and instead of waiting for them to get up, the people just kept piling on until they, like, filled the doorway. You're not thinking logically. You're just thinking of the shortest possible route.
My friend Jake, who's a pathological liar, told me when we were both 6, pathological liar, that the most dangerous activity is a human stampede. More people die in a human stampede than anything. And I was like, oh my God. I was 6, so I believed him. I think of it every now and then. And I'm like, maybe.
Well, you see those, like, real stampede pictures and just, like, water buffalo running off of a cliff. Do you think...
Oh, wait. Off a cliff, do they? Oh my God, I'm gonna totally look it up now.
It's insane. You are so fearful that you run away from whatever is dangerous to you into more danger because you're not analyzing the situation properly.
So it's called mass psychogenic illness, and I thought that was crazy that it was an illness. And even the definition didn't seem normal to me. So from Wikipedia, MPI, or mass psychogenic illness, also called mass sociogenic illness, mass psychogenic disorder, epidemic hysteria, and mass hysteria, is a rapid spread of illness signs and symptoms affecting members of a cohesive group originating from a nervous system disturbance involving excitation, loss, altercation of function, whereby physical complaints that are exhibited unconsciously have no corresponding organic etiology. Excuse me?
What? No organic etiology?
Etiology's in blue. I'm going to click it because I have no idea.
Ideology or etiology? What is etiology?
Oh, it's a study of causation or origination.
Oh. So people can't piece together the logic, so they freak out, is what I'm hearing.
Well, there's no beginning to it. It's just if everyone else is freaking out, suddenly you're freaking out because there's 75% of the room is doing one thing. But what's funny is it also said excitation. So I think if 75% of the room just erupted in cheers and clapping and happiness, you would probably like, stand up, smiling. You'd be like, what's going on? Right? I would. I'd be like, yo, I got to see what's up. Yo, who's here? It's crazy. So we are like sheep.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird for me to feel panic because I'm a nonconformist and I don't feel like I fit in with most people.
Mm-hmm.
But when people beat me to the chase and like realize that like this could last months and they take supplies for a month, I started thinking, like, maybe other people are thinking the same way I am, and they beat me. And I hate when people beat me to the chase, and then I lose, because I can't, what can I do? Like, those people probably are sitting in their homes with a stockpile of stuff, which is illegal. You can't sell that. You shouldn't stockpile it. Bad hoarders. No. But they might need it. Like, what if this is the thing? What if this lasts months, and then people are all of a sudden, like, gnawing on chicken bones they found in the trash? Like, what if this is the new depression, and, like, if you had bought more chicken bones in the beginning, you could be gnawing on a fresh chicken bone. Like, this is the thought process that most people are probably going through, is that, like, oh, toilet paper might be twice as expensive when it comes back. Like, who sets the price of that? Who, like,
Supply
is it price fixed now? Like,
supply and demand, dude. My pops did not raise prices. I asked if he was gouging a little bit. Like, come on, raise it a couple bucks, dude. Make a couple bucks, because his customers are also churches, gyms, restaurants. I just named a lot of things that aren't going to be open in 2 to 4 weeks, and may never be open, so he may never sell toilet paper again.
Yeah.
But no, he did not price gouge, which is illegal, but who can prove?
Yeah, who can prove $1? I did see a video of someone charging like $60 for toilet paper rolls. And
per roll?
It was like a box of maybe like 12. But still, it was like $5. Yeah, it was ridiculous. That person got arrested because they're trying to price gouge.
Nice.
I do like that the police are fully on the side of logic and reason on this one. They're like, no, we're not gonna
stop. Don't be an idiot.
There are laws on the books for this. The other thing I don't think people realize now, and this episode will be aired much later than this happens, and hopefully it doesn't play out like I didn't think it would, but I ran some numbers, and like the numbers of infection and how the curve actually grows, I don't think anyone out there, especially the president and his task team, they're never going to say, we think that X number of people are going to be infected at this date, and we need to act. They're just going to provide guidance to mitigate the problem, and there could literally be hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million people infected per day by this thing.
Mark Zuckerberg did an interview with some famous person today. I actually don't remember his name. Did you see any of this?
No.
He must have had, Facebook team must have decided, you'd recognize the guy. I don't know if he's CDC or he's someone high up, either political or
Fauci?
Science or medical.
Like that one doctor, his name is Fauci. That's like, he's been around the Trump organization, like saying like, we're not prepared for this. Like he's the one who's just like, what are you going to do?
Honest.
Like,
brutally honest.
He's straight. He's brutally honest. Like we need to act now.
Is he the one that talked about what China did to combat this and how it was like super hardcore? There's somebody who was like, they did this. We didn't do any of this. And then they did this, and we don't have any of this.
Yeah. It might have been him.
Could have been. Anyway, they had this guy on, and he was giving answers that were so. I was clapping for him. I was like, they were like, how many estimates do you think are going to get sick? And it's like, he's like, very depends on how clean we are. And I was like, oh, good answer. And then they're like, if this many people get sick, how many do you think will die? Rough estimates. And he's like, we don't know yet until we know this. And like, it's weird how the PR skirts answers.
Yes.
They're not supposed to give certain answers because that would freak people out.
Yes.
And I'm almost glad they didn't, because if he did give a number, everyone would go nuts. And then it would be in every newspaper, article everywhere. So even if he's lying, like I'm like,
he can't tell the truth.
So, no, and I can feel them not telling the truth. I can feel this real turn in the higher ups. Like no one's ever just said, hey kids, stay home from school for 2 weeks while we figure this out. That's never happened.
Yeah.
That's a red flag. People telling everyone to stay home from work for 2 weeks? That's a red flag to me. And it's not a red flag in that I want to stay home, like work from home. That's telling a lot of people with money, no, this is bigger than money almost. And I'm like, whoa, the government never says that.
Yeah.
Government never says no to money unless they they have some models that tell them some really scary stuff, and they're not ever going to tell us what they're seeing exactly, just kind of hint at it and tell everyone not to panic and that we're going to work through this and everything will be fine. And I get it. But it's funny from the beginning of this conversation talking about snowstorms and people overreacting, and now I almost sound conspiratorial. Do you know what I mean?
They're intentionally removing the details so that the people who don't understand the logic or science of it don't react to the big number that might possibly be true.
Correct.
I'm looking at a graph that probably says there's probably more than 1 million people going to be infected per day. And if that number is true, that means there's thousands of people that won't be able to get proper health care and won't survive. And
we don't know.
I like brutal honesty because that's
Sure.
me. And if this was approached properly ahead of time, if they caught it before it became this level of craziness, they might have been able to say, like, we could have X number of deaths if we don't act now. And
I don't know, man.
now
As
that we're
it gets
in it,
closer and closer,
you can't say it now because you're stuck. Like,
It's close.
you have 3
Here's the
weeks
other
until
problem,
you know.
though. If you tell someone from this business I'm in where people need their materials and I'm quoting them and I have deadlines and I have when they have to have the material by and it's going to be in my hands by this day, can it get shipped by this day? What day does it leave your warehouse? There's a weird thing that happens where if you give someone information early, hey, it's probably going to leave by like Thursday, you should be able to get it by Monday.
They bargained from that point.
Oh my God, it's crazy that people will call me 3 days in a row and be like, so it's shipping Thursday? And I have no control. I can't see the material. I don't know. I'm like this. Yeah, it sounds like it. And then I check and they've emailed me 3 times on Thursday. And I'm like, it didn't look like it left. So I'll do a request and they're like, you have the wrong part number in here. And I'm like, oh, fuck. How did you guys not tell me? It's been in there for a week. So I'll real quick do a request and they're like, sorry, it's in the back of the line now. And I'm like, God damn it. And now the person's emailing me and be like, did it leave yet? Do you have tracking information? And I'm like, it's going to leave. But if you told the American public the exact same thing would happen, how many people are going to die? And they'd be like, this is an estimate. I don't know. And the American people would be like, you said 1.7 million. And it'd be like, I said it an estimate. And they'd tell you 2 days later and be like, so is it still 1.7? And they'd bang at you. And they'd be like this. How many people are going to die? I need to know the number. And people will be like, you said 2 days ago 1.7. And everyone answering these questions would be like, we're still not 100% sure. And someone in the back would be like, 1.7, is it going to be bigger? It's a weird thing. When you tell people a number, they harp on it. And they need to know that that's worst case scenario. It's probably not.
Do you want to talk about how Trump approached the situation?
That Reddit post said it all.
Yeah, there was like 20 quotes in a row where he was like, "Oh, it's nothing. Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, it's in China. Oh, we have some cases, but it's going to 0. It's like 1 or so. Yeah, it's nothing.
One guy.
It'll go away in the spring." He has all these excuses up until it actually becomes a pandemic, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I knew it would be a pandemic." It's like
doctors are saying, "How did you know so much?"
Yeah. They're asking me. They're surprised. They're surprised. How do I know this?
As much as I did. Maybe I should have done that instead of run for president. That was actually in the quote.
That's verbatim.
That's literally what he said.
Unbelievable. This person is trying to calm the nation. And he was failing.
I think he's scared as shit right now.
He's scared. He's also he was failing horribly until he formed this task team, and he's letting other people talk. The other people have a direction. They say, like, we're doing this, like, all of these steps to get to this point, and we're moving forward, and, like, it's a calming voice. It's almost like you're talking someone off a ledge. Like, it's still going to be all right. You could just step down now. There's no worries. You don't need to. It's like, but you and I are both listening, saying, this is serious stuff. Like, we can hear you lying.
Yes. And not even lying, though, because it's not like they're totally lying. They're saying we don't know exactly.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is what I say at my work all the time now. They're like, when am I going to get my material? I'm like, it could be in a week or 2. Depends on when it ships. And they're like, when's it ship? And I'm like, we're not sure. In my head, I'm like, 10 days, 20 days. Who knows, dude? So the trick is you don't give these numbers. You don't give them pieces of information because they will harp on it and they will demand better results. Can we get it to 1.6 million? Lady, I don't know. Like, So I think it's a good team. They're lying sort of, or they're trying to be as calm as possible. But if they told everyone the truth, people can't handle the truth.
Yeah. So
Can they?
I don't know. The other aspect is that we're a developed nation with healthcare and support. It's not universal healthcare, but it
Not
might
even
cost.
good healthcare.
Yeah, we
Not
have
even
a system in
regimented.
place to do
We have
something.
healthcare. Correct.
I can't imagine these other countries that are too poor to even support the healthcare of their own people when the virus hits them. Like, imagine if your house was in the middle of a country that was a third world country, and you were not without. Everyone else is going to look at you and say, "I need whatever he has." How do you protect what you have? I don't think I could.
I think that's worst case scenario for. I think that's worst case scenario for our country.
You think that people are going to
Worst
devolve
case,
into
worst
stealing
case.
and theft and all?
I mean,
It does
you said
go that way.
25% unemployment.
Crime.
Well, think of this, dude. 25% unemployment. You got a family where a guy's father now lives with him because he couldn't afford his house. He has it, and he's on a respirator, and well, he needs a respirator. He's not on one. And his kid now maybe he's got it, and they're all living together. Now he's like, I literally don't have the money to feed these people. What am I going to do? Like that person could get desperate. Absolutely. What if him and a couple of his friends decide to rob a mansion they know of that's in town? I wouldn't blame them. I mean, it's to feed your family and live. Like, you will die without food.
The
Government's not getting back
wealth,
there.
right?
Yeah,
It's
a little
very,
bit.
Communist.
And it is, but I talked to my friend about this. Like, if you are going to die, you don't have food. The government hasn't been sending checks. You don't have anything. Your neighbors can't help you. Are you going to go to like the nearest row home in the inner city and be like, give me all your Kraft macaroni? You probably rob the rich guy. You don't feel as bad about it. Steal stuff from him, bang up his car, try and get some money out of him. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. What other elements does this touch on? I feel like there's a piece of it where collectivism and people going along with the crowd. I feel like a lot of people just go along with what other people do.
So you think everyone is kind of in this waiting phase right now where we don't know exactly how serious it will be? I don't know if it's going to ruin every job in America or kind of ruin most of them, or kind of just be like really inconvenient or kind of totally screw and kill people. So we're all waiting and we're just looking at the guy to our left, looking at the guy to our right. Like, are we looking at everybody and being like, well, you're still there. I'm still here. You're still there.
I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast where he brought on an expert.
Of course you were. I knew that sentence was coming before you said it.
Yeah. And the one thing he said is that he talked to like financial analysts who were trying to understand the situation, and he described them as children who were trying to walk down a dark hallway, and they were fearful of everything and knew nothing about it. So they were just reaching out and throwing out these questions to try to understand what was in the dark hallway. And he just was like, this is insane. Like, these people have zero clue on what's going on, and they're in charge of lots of money, and it makes zero sense. And this is how you get to this stage of hysteria, is that you don't prepare for it. You don't have experts in the right spot. You don't have the right message, and people don't know what to think. And you can't prevent it. It's going to keep going and keep growing in a bad way.
I don't disagree with anything you just said. I also constantly think of how my generation, me personally, I'm one of those guys on Twitter that's making like suicide jokes, or not suicide jokes, memes, like can't wait to die, but you spell half the words wrong. Like, that's a great tweet to me. It cracks me up. I don't know why. Not because I want to die, but because like I'm very like wom wom and like satirical and like look at the world sarcastically and everything, like, but I don't take anything seriously. Like, everything's kind of a joke. I go with the flow of everything.
So,
like,
you graduated when I graduated, which was in the middle of the last recession.
No, I was before you, actually.
Slightly, by a year.
No, I was going with by my last name, but yeah, sure.
No. They called your name minutes before mine.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
But
Anyway, good.
I think that hardened us, especially because it's like when things dry up and you can't find a job, all of the jobs are kind of shitty and they don't pay that well. And you get scrutinized even more when you're trying to find a job that's shitty and probably is beneath you. And it just sucks the soul out of you when you're looking for something that'd be great, but it doesn't come around. And I can't imagine the people that have to essentially sacrifice their dreams to do a shit job that pays them shittily just so that they can get by. And I feel like a lot of the people right now are going to be in that bucket where they're just hate it. They hate doing what they're doing because they're forced to, because there's no way to make ends meet at this point. But I also feel like the people who are younger than me are just like happy-go-lucky, and they don't realize that like you've got a year and then this thing is going to really look bad.
I mean, didn't you describe old people and young people in one sentence for generations and generations?
Sure. Is that you're
Everyone's
naive until
pie
you're
in the
not, and
sky.
then by the time you're not naive, you understand.
I'm gonna change the world! Yay! I think authority is bad. I can't wait till I'm 19. But like everyone who's like 38 and older is just like haggard and hates their life and like miserable and be like, wait till you get older, bastard. Like a little bit. I know you didn't describe that exactly. No, what I was just gonna say though is that Americans in general, we had the spring break thing.
Oh yeah.
Everyone in Florida.
Fuck it.
The entire
We're
beach.
we love it.
Wow. Did it look worse than usual? No, it looked twice as crowded as I've ever seen a beach in my entire life during a pandemic where they said keep distance and let's try not to get germs.
Yeah.
So, in a way, China, which is authoritarian, like no free will,
Super
like you have to do what you're told, super controlled, they mitigated the hell out of this virus probably by being so.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that our freedom, our ability to say no to authority, our taking selfies with all our friends in a bar crawl is like what could kill so many people and almost sober us up?
Isn't it ironic?
Don't you think?
Oh God.
It's like COVID-19.
This is actually a pivotal moment where I think China, since they have so much control, is they can choose to bypass the virus, even though they started it. This Chinese virus is theirs.
I know. We're not even going to get into the Chinese virus that keeps being mentioned. Like that's every time I hear him say it, it's like, oh, it sounds bad. I'm like, stop
blaming them.
Chinese virus.
Okay. They were actually able to control their people enough to let it run its course in the people that had it, so that they didn't infect other people. Whereas in this country, you can't corral the damn 330 million cats that are just jumping around and bouncing into each other.
No, we're out of control. We love taking selfies. We love being in parties. We're social creatures, dude. We love friggin' just doing what we want to do, and we're not going to listen to the rules. And it's going to kill so many people in a way.
Yeah,
it's like sobering and it's almost justice. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
not justice because it's a freak thing and it's not good, but
it's our own
undoing.
Upbringing is destroying us.
What destroys every Greek hero? Hubris.
Hubris. Yes, our own
hubris against the virus. Maybe our undoing.
I also feel that like our work ethic too is like I know friends that are working at companies that are completely ignoring this. And it's proven it out like multiple times over that other countries who just ignore it, they're in a world of pain. And it might not be like your pain, but it's the country's pain. How can you, if you're a business owner, how can you not say like, oh, you can do your work at home, go home. Like, let's do the logical thing and make sure that other people are safe.
What about those restaurants and bars and crap though?
They're trying to make our goal should not be to make money. It sounds ridiculous.
It shouldn't be. That's weird.
It should be the good of the country, which doesn't, like, no one can feel
Are we
the
talking
good of the
about
country.
communism? It sounds like we're communists this episode.
No,
I'm telling you.
The well-being of those around you, which is never. It sounds
good.
so ridiculous, doesn't it? Because we laugh at that because we're individuals. We don't give a shit about other people. But this is what causes panic when other people don't give a shit about other people, and they're like, "I'm gonna take from you because I can. I was here first. I'm entitled." It's like there will be a time when you are not entitled because it is necessary that everyone shares. I see it in my 2 sons that run. When they try to share, one of them inevitably gets jealous, gets mad, uses all the tools necessary to try to take that thing from him. I don't know that ever goes away, and I feel like the adults now are acting just like that because they don't know.
Childish.
They don't know what it means or how it hurts people, and they don't see the hurt. You don't see that, like, the old person who didn't just realize that there's a virus out there and needs toilet paper. Like, what do you, like, the community has to support that person, and that person can do it on their own, even though America told them, like, you're an individual, you can do what you want, you have your freedom. I don't know that we're going to have our freedom when it goes in total lockdown.
Used our own freedoms against us, sort of.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily used our freedoms against us, our freedoms turned us selfish.
Yeah. The main problem I see is that we're ignorant and we don't believe in science as, like, a populace. And there should have been a time. There should have been a time when they leaned on the scientists to say.
I really want to know.
What?
Do you think most of the people out there do or do not believe in the sciences for the most part?
I don't think they do. That's like the church that was spraying salt water in their mouths and saying you're healed. It's like community will bind us and we're above this virus because, like,
they did this?
Yeah, they infected everybody because one of them had it, got it on the nozzle, and sprayed all the other people. Boom, 60 people infected, which then turns into like 120 people and then 240 people. It's like you just spread the virus to like thousands of people because you're ignorant, because you believe something that's not factual, has no basis in reality.
You know what's weird?
What?
I have Jehovah Witnesses that visit me personally. They know me.
Mm-hmm.
Once every 3 weeks, I think. They probably have a schedule because I think they actually take notes. They know when I'll be home, etc.
They're watching your house? That's so fucking creepy.
No, well, they just know that I'm home Saturday in the afternoon. Like, not like 1:03 or anything like that. But I'm like, damn it, they're here. Now I have to go out and talk to them. And they're nice guys. Like, so I always give them like 5 minutes of my time. And it always turns into 10. And then I'm like, I got to go, guys. And they're always like, I'll shoot the shit with them. I'll talk normal stuff. And I'm like, yo, I can't believe the birds did this. I can't believe this. And they're like, that's crazy. And I'm like, yo, you believe this? And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the conversation, they always go, but anyway, did you know what Jesus could do for you? And I'm always like, here's the pitch. Go ahead, give me the booklet. And I always take the Watchtower book. And then I try and click them up. I'm like, yeah, I love the Bible. It's great. But I'm not doing it anytime soon. Come back. Maybe next time I'll talk to you guys about a meeting. Thanks. All right, have a good one. And my logic is always they get credit for reaching out and handing me a booklet and whatever. And if it goes in their book that they reached out to someone and touched someone and he may turn around, like, good on them, dude. Like, I want them to get props. I'm never going to do it. They haven't visited me in 2 weeks. And that's weird. Or 2 times. I think Jehovah's Witnesses are taking the high road here and not going door to door. Isn't that crazy?
They're
that
avoiding
of all the religious
infections.
Yeah, or giving it or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me because they're so anti-science and everything. But, like, you have some people who are blindly still doing the dumbest things ever and who I consider some of the dumber, pig-headed religious people are changing their ways. So I think we're going to see a lot of change, too. Who can adapt and who can't to this thing. Yeah.
This is a wake-up moment. Stop freaking
Might
out.
Be.
Stop doing stupid things.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe stop panicking. Maybe stop doing dumb things.
So I guess the question that lingers on my mind is what would you do if you lost your job, if you couldn't find a job?
Worse. I have this recurring fantasy where... Oh, it's not fantasy. That's the wrong word. a recurring fear that like, no, this is real. Like,
I have a
that
fantasy if I lose my job because I'll be free.
well, that literally is always what I tell people at work every day. No, what if I get the virus and it kills my kid?
Oof. Way to unload
Right?
that
I mean,
one.
I've been thinking about it for days, and I'm not harping on it like it's going to happen, but like, there's a chance. One in who knows what. He's got asthma.
Are you
like,
isolating yourself?
From the kid? I wouldn't know until I gave it to him.
Yeah.
I spend every day with him.
But if you are you staying indoors and not leaving the house? What was the mandate in Pennsylvania?
They just passed it today that non-essential personnel can't go to work or whatever. It's weird. But I mean I went and did the toilet paper run 5 days ago.
Mine is gatherings of 10 people or more. You're not allowed to have
10. Wow, ours is 50, so that's weird. 10, maybe it's lower, 25 or something.
And you keep shrinking until you're alone.
But my thing is, if my kid did die or something, like ultimate Mad Max scenario where people are dying, kids are dying, everyone's going, I can't save him. Ventilator machines are all taken because he got sick too late. He's got asthma. I don't know what to do. I have bad. I'm talking chaos. The world's on fire. My parents are sick. I have no job. People are in bedlam. I can't pay any of my bills. I don't know where my next meals are coming from. My kid dies. Like, I'd probably Mad Max, live on the streets. If I could live at all, I'd be doing some crazy shit. I would probably go crazy and go after, like, I would blame Sally Mae.
Yeah. Freddie Mac
a couple firearms
from 10 years ago.
Or something. Yeah. No, wait, someone did that?
I don't know. I don't know what.
Oh, okay.
Happened.
Anyway, I was being jokey, but my life would be, I wouldn't be doing podcasts. I think I'd just be like roaming the streets. Maybe I'd look for drugs or something. So let's hope the worst case scenario does not happen. And I don't think it will. But as a parent, like,
how do you protect it? How do you preserve it?
I have to keep that as the ultimate. Do not let this even come close to me. Like, I have to keep this at such a distance, and I don't know how. And do I do that by overreacting? By overbuying stuff? By like, panicking? Isn't it the weirdest thing? We just spent the whole episode talking about not panicking, and here I'm thinking,
maybe you should.
The best way to mitigate the worst case scenario is to buy over the top stuff and do crazy stuff that totally puts that at a 0.0000001% chance.
So there's another topic here that just occurred to me, is self-reliance. So we're so divided in the way that we approach like functions, like job functions, and how we get our food, get our products, get everything we eat and drink. It's someone else's job to do that.
Yeah. So you're talking about farming.
Yeah.
Finding your own food, water, drink, animal, shelter.
Yeah.
We can't do that anymore.
No. Most people are living in apartment buildings and they have no land and they can't do that at all.
We rely on chains of production and means and manufacturing and distribution and then transport.
And any one of those links breaks, it becomes very frightening.
It's chaos.
Everyone take it easy though. It's gonna be fine. I can't tell any. I feel like I'm lying there. I don't know. I'm freaked out. I honestly, when I started like making my little spreadsheet of what the curve would look like.
So here's my thing. Everyone's been talking about this. I can read articles on this. Newspaper, girlfriend, people at work. The only time I got freaked out, and this is dead serious, when you were texting me today.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, oh, shit, dude. This is not good. This is not good. I was like, Dan does not do these kind of texts. Dan does not do this kind of thing. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And then I started looking, and you had me freaked out. Now, what I'm going to ask is where you got your feelers. Is this like Reddit scientist people? Like, who are you seeing that you were like, whoa, whoa, whoa?
So there's a thing called R0 for infection rates and the way it spreads. And then there's cases for China and Italy. And you can get information on the number of cases per day increase. Worldometer.info or something.
No. What led you here? Random article? Google? Who? I'm just curious.
I was trying to figure out how long this would last because I'm trying to manage my money in a way that keeps it safe, but then doesn't
stock market.
miss out on gains. Yeah.
Sure.
And I was thinking like maybe it lasts like a couple weeks, that like
Couple
until
months.
something
You
breaks.
were thinking like 2 to 3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. And when I started punching in the numbers and like adding the scenario and then like making it modified for what I thought was like a real number, like the smaller number, like the smaller graph still freaked me out, because it shows a lot of people getting infected per day and a lot of people dying, and it lasting a lot longer than I thought. Even like if you mitigate like the spike, which will looks like it'd be huge if you didn't mitigate it. If you mitigate that out, it could last a year until they hit a vaccine that can be distributed to everybody. Like, this thing is gonna last a long time. I can't imagine having all of these things shut down for that period of time.
For that long. No, you can't. So I don't know what happens.
All those things become abandoned, and then like you never get to
Supply
go
chain,
to a movie theater. Like, what if
restaurants.
this is the moment that changes just the way we live our lives, the things we enjoy. Like, I can't ever play hockey again because they just like don't have any rinks, or I can't go to a movie because they don't have movie theaters. Like,
We haven't even talked about sports, dude. I could spend episodes on sports and in arenas and stuff like that. No more. Like,
not for like. Can you imagine just? I mean, we've missed out on hockey seasons because of collective bargaining and all that garbage.
sure.
But I haven't ever had a year where it was like, no sports this year. No football,
sports.
basketball, soccer,
Oh,
hockey,
sports.
nothing. Nobody,
And
no
sports
even
is
events.
a multi-billion-dollar event.
Yeah.
That should have just red flag again. Why would they throw away billions of free money unless they know that something? Real quick, last one. You want to touch on any conspiracy theories?
What are the conspiracy theories of how? We touched on some last time.
It's
What do you?
man-made 5G cell phone towers.
Oh, I saw this one too.
Did you see that one?
I saw an expert. He said that there's no way that we man-made this because it's like the origins of the virus are just random.
Also, the way it moves too.
Yeah.
It's moving in a systematic way, not like where 5G towers are, and then you know what I mean. It will be ridiculous.
People like the one for the 5G. Actually, it was like a professor, and the way he presented it, I kind of liked, because he was like, every new invention and widespread adoption of that invention that can like interfere with our bodies spawn something new, and he had like examples of how it matched up to different flus. I would say probably not, because it doesn't penetrate our bodies all that much, but I could see like, so the whole thing is that it like radio waves are modifying your bodies, what he was saying, and like your body's reaction to the modifications is to then spit out a virus, essentially, or allow a virus to be susceptible, which I don't know about our radio signals now, but like coronal mass ejections, where you're hitting the planet with radiation, or like the pulsars or some other form of like galactic radiation.
Whatever, gamma bursts or...
Yeah, I've lost everybody, but if that hits our planet, it's going to genetically change us and change a lot of people at once, and then you might have some weird anomalies that could be repercussions of that. So
makes sense to a degree.
Yeah, but that's the vein that he was going in, because we're like, are we bombarding our bodies with stuff that we can't handle, and this is the result? And I think probably not, but...
Probably not 5G towers, but I mean, consider this. We didn't used to have a device that we would carry on us at all times, like 24 hours a day, and like sleep near it and have it in our pocket and touch it and hold it all day and stare at it. And
yeah.
I mean, it has to emit some kind of radiation, right?
Yeah. But the way it's propagating is definitely not like we're all susceptible.
No. Yeah. It wouldn't spread the way it does.
Yes,
from
exactly.
West to east. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So the conspiracy theories and the government controlling it and everything else, I don't really see where anyone's making money off of this.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like who's like, now everyone has to buy hand sanitizer.
Well,
maybe big hand sanitizer.
If you could cause this type of disruption, you could short the market. You know what shorting is?
Yeah, but this is shorting the market and not knowing if it'll ever recover. I mean, that's a pretty big risk or short to take. That's a big short.
there like certain things I've been looking at, and like I don't have the balls to invest like some people might, but if I had, looking back, I could have made enough to just like not work anymore. Like if I had the balls to be like, I think this is the event, here's my, like all my money, put it on black.
But that's buying low. That's not selling high.
So shorting a stock is essentially like if you believe the stock is going lower, you'll make money in the future. You can also bet in different ways on like volatility. There's every kind of like mathematical construct to make money out of the stock market.
How are you making money off of the crash if it never recovers?
You can make money on the change of a price, whether it goes up or down. Or if it bounces up and down, you can also make money on that.
But can you make money if something goes from higher to lower in the stock market and just stays lower?
That's shorting a stock. You can,
I'm
also
confused.
called puts.
So what do? You sell it for more than it's worth?
You're essentially, no, you're not owning it. You're telling somebody else that there's a contracted price that they will pay for it. And then when it goes down, you're actually making money off the person who contracted with you.
Oh, so they have to repeatedly buy? It's like a blanket order type thing?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I guess you could. It's interesting.
It's a future contract. You're contracted.
So they're going
with
to buy it in a week or two. Interesting. So you say, hey, I'll give it to you at a discount, man. And then you destroy the stock market. And they're buying Charmin. Actually, Charmin probably went up. I picked a terrible example.
Yeah.
Interesting. Then lastly, why did Bill Gates step down? What do you know?
So Bill Gates gave a TED Talk on exactly this. He had an example in Ebola, and he said, like, why didn't Ebola spread everywhere? And it's like, we got lucky because it didn't spread to a major city. And, like, at the time, we weren't prepared for that either. We might have been even more so prepared for that.
3 years ago?
What was Ebola?
2, 3? 2 or 3?
I feel like that was more than... Time has more... Let me see, Ebola.
I thought it was 2 or 3. Was
that a pandemic? I don't know if that was a pandemic.
No, it didn't reach that level. No, it has to reach
2014. So that was in Africa.
Holy crap. No, wait. When it came to America.
Yeah.
It was in America?
I don't know that it ever made it here in mass.
Yeah, it did. Remember? It was a big... No, it was in small. That's what I thought you were referring to. When it was in like, there's 2 cases in PA, and there's... What are you going to do about your kid in college?
There were 11 total cases.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
2 deaths.
What year?
That was 2015.
Was it?
2014. It was December of 2014.
Weird. I really thought my kid had been born. Anyway.
Yeah. But the same thing, like these viruses, they're like, we don't approach a virus like it's a war. And that's what Bill Gates was saying, is that the thing that's going to kill us all isn't a war, it's a virus that wipes us out. And we don't have people or teams that come in like the movies and all of a sudden there's a starlet that says, I have the cure. Like, there's people working on the cure now, but they should have been working on a cure like the moment they saw a new strain of anything. There's no team out there collecting all the new strains and saying, like, we fixed it, we're going to fix it before it gets to this level. Because people don't put any weight in the fixing of things before it becomes important.
Or real.
Yeah. There's no way to say, like...
We talked about it, though. I know.
Yeah. I saved 100 million people, but 100 million people don't know it. Like, there's people out there that do, but the value we put in that, almost nothing. And Bill Gates was saying exactly this, is that if we see a virus that has lethality in this range and can be spread via
airborne, and
it's like, we're going to hit something that's going to be globally destructive, and we're here. And then I think he figured it out. I think he saw exactly the model that he warned about.
I'm going to live in my mountain.
He's probably self-isolating or trying to help people in need.
He's very philanthropic.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Was that exactly what you wanted me to touch on?
Yeah, we could go into other conspiracy theories. I forget what some of them are, but they're all kind of ridiculous. This is more reality that we want to be conspiracy theory, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's another, I guess the other segment of it is for all the people panicking, there are probably a smaller group of people that are doing the right thing, and like the doctors, the people who are developing vaccines, and the people who are probably working in plants to produce the toilet paper and all the stuff we need.
What about healthcare workers and crap?
Healthcare workers, yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, if people are coming in and coughing and I have symptoms, do you think I have the corona? And you don't even have a testing kit there. We're not even going to get into our testing kits available, because that's the big conspiracy right now is,
Shooting
hey, every NBA.
Long, dark hallway.
It is a long, dark hallway.
Those, yeah.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, dude.
Should value
We're
those
prone to
people
panic.
more.
We should.
But we don't.
We're all prone to panic.
blindly
We're waiting
follow.
for it. We're waiting for it to hit. And when it does, I think we're going to wait till the last second.
And go, oh my god, that was so big.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody take a selfie with that virus.
Will they be the ones that die?
No. That's the worst part.
That's the worst part.
I mean, there are, I'm going to say, well, my dad is ignorant in the way that he doesn't respect the virus can kill him. There's a lot of boomers like that. And they keep living life normally because they're so
I'm going golfing today with my homies, and it's like, you better be careful, dude. You're good.
I don't know. I wonder when people get into these things, they don't see the repercussions, and they probably regret it after the fact, but they don't foresee the regret.
Check this.
Ever.
What if you're 84, kid moved to another country, she's following her dream, she was a professor of archaeology, she's doing archaeology stuff in Egypt or something. You're 84, you got a decent amount of money, she never had grandkids, wife died. Would you still go to the bar all the time, go golfing with your homies, knowing it could kill you, but being got arthritis everywhere, lived my whole life, I'm good. If it kills me, it kills me. Is that bad?
I think it is bad.
But do you think, I
think you should change your ways and find other enjoyment that doesn't have any potential harm for other people.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying, if you're 84, you're like, F it. And can I take that from you? I'm not here to say I agree with it or anything. I'm just saying.
I don't know. You would hope that people would F it in a different way that would help other people. Be like, let me be the test subject. Let me help you help other, people don't generally be like, people don't generally change. So they'll keep doing what they're doing. And
you also sound like a boss saying, maybe you could just work on Saturday. I agree with you. And for the betterment of the economy and the world and the people around you, you should do all this, X, Y, and Z.
Those warehouse
people
workers
aren't always going to do it. Just like the boss will tell you, though, that, hey, we can't afford to pay anymore, but can you come in on Saturday and just at 4 hours? That's all we need. It's going to make the company work so much smoother. We don't have the money to pay you, but everyone would just appreciate it. What would you say to that?
What would you say to it if they said, we can't pay anymore, but we'd like you to keep coming in?
Suck my dick. Consider I did.
Give me shares. Give me worthless shares.
Give me some of your worthless shares.
Short your shares to shit.
$10,000 worth.
Yeah. Panic.
Well, wrap it up. Panic is good. Panic is bad.
I don't know. So what should it be? How should I act, Nick? Tell me how to act. I'm not sure.
Nice. So, on one hand, you should be steadfast. You should not listen to the whims of all the people. You shouldn't listen to the sheep that are saying, "Yo, that way."
Yeah.
You like that?
Way logic.
But on the other hand, don't be the last to panic, because everything's gone. You've lost everything. You were last to move, and now you're screwed.
You lost everything you never had. What are you doing?
And now you're screwed. And like you just mentioned, when everyone beat you to all that grocery stuff, you're like, son of a bitch. So there's a fine line. There's a walk we walk every day. To panic or not to panic. To be the first one to buy all the extra supplies, or to be the last one. What's worse?
I don't know. Is it weird that a lot of Campbell's soup was left? I would have thought that would
Really?
be like one of the
I would
first
have thought
things.
that would have went too. Interesting.
Yeah, you can see what people really don't like. Sorry.
Have you seen the memes with a Dasani water? It's
Oh
still,
yeah.
like all the water's gone for a
Except
mile, and
Dasani
it just
in every picture.
Yeah. That water really does suck. I honestly can't say that.
This water company's gonna make a fortune, except for Dasani. Why? No, I don't know. No one bought any Dasani during this apocalypse.
It's wild. So, I guess stay safe out there.
Yeah.
Worry
Stay
about your
calm.
family. But don't worry too much. Calm, but panic. But be ready to buy. I don't know.
Don't hoard. Take what you need. Rely
But get a
on
little
yourself
extra.
and others.
but also get a little extra while you're there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Might as well grab another one. Why not?
Maybe two more. You never know. There's
Yeah.
a run on this stuff. You can freeze it. Wild. Well,
We do.
thanks, folks. We like you a lot. We hope you're all still kicking.
Listening. Living. Working.
Donate for our whatever. See y'all.
Enjoy. I hope everyone has a good night. And maybe life. Hopefully.
Thanks.